So then now you have to question everything. Just because you don't buy into the Ukraine, Russia, Hollywood thing doesn't mean that your stance with either the left or the right is any better. Because you don't buy into the Hollywood thing doesn't mean that Fritz Springmeyer and Jordan Peterson and David Icke, whatever his name is, and all the different popular New Age pundits are any better or aren't as controlled as everything else you're reacting to. That's why it's just like the Tower of Babel. Because you see those that are like making fun of the Hollywood thing, and then those that are like, oh, I don't buy into that. But then you see all over their Facebook, they're all making fun of Biden. They're all very pro-Trump. And so you see, there's always a place for somebody who thinks that they're woke. Am I saying I'm woke? I don't even want to say the word woke because that has so much baggage. That has so much baggage. You know, it's not even being awake. It's like, there's got to be another word for it because that has been used by the CIA assets of the conspiracy/New Age community. So what would finally relinquishing every single politic, religion, scientific dogma, New Age, all the labels, what would you call a person? Would you even want to call a person something that doesn't have any emotional reaction or emotional investment in something out there that the system wants you to react to? I don't even know if there's a word for that. Could I create a word or develop a word? I'm sure I could. But so many words that have already been stolen by the conspiracy New Age people that I have to really think long and hard, how would I describe someone who finally let go of everything? Like, let it all go. And now they're staying home, staying safe, changing their biochemistry, assimilating, fluctuating with this environment. Understand first they believe indefinite life is possible, and then they exemplify someone who is fluid with the environment and realizes how aggressive the environment is, and they're not trying to play a part out there. That the only way that you can play a part out there is if you're cured. But when you're cured, you won't survive. So then what are you? You could say autonomous, but autonomous means that you are not dependent on anything, and I'm dependent upon the infrastructure. I'm dependent upon the government keeping the water going, the electricity going, as long as I pay for it. So I'm not 100% autonomous. So then it's like relative autonomy, but what does even that mean? So I don't even know what to call someone such as myself. And maybe others who finally have let go of, oh my God, let go of like everything. They've peeled back the layers of everything. And it's like, and I'm telling you, those layers are long. There's so many of them, and they are intense. You know how many rabbit holes I went down for many years? You know how many videos I listened to when I was on the truck with my husband? Oh, I embedded myself deep into the Ascension, Starseed, New Age, conspiracy. Oh, I loved listening to the David Icke people. Oh, I loved listening to the Fritz Springmeyer people. I loved just reading about Kathy O'Brien and all the Bob Hope stuff and the Disney stuff. Oh, that was more than entertaining. I felt like I knew something more than somebody else. And so really what it comes down to is you either follow somebody else's script or you develop your own. That's really what it comes down to. So then you could say, you know what? Those that have let go of all the scripts out there, now you're developing your own. You're not regurgitating. So could you call an organic scriptwriter? But is it really organic? Because you're still taking words that are used in all those things. But no, now you are I don't know, chemical script writer, because you understand that you have to change biochemistry to change the words that you use, to change then your behaviors, and then how you act and react to things. And so a chemical screenwriter, because you know biochemistry is the platform to writing an original script. Because you know how many scripts out there that are just using the old scripts, like The Birdcage, you know, with Robin Williams and Nathan Lane. That was regurgitated from La Cage aux Folles from back in the 1920s, 1930s. Every movie that we've seen has been recycled from something that we've forgotten, like in the 1920s, 1930s, 1940s, 1950s. So if you truly can identify that you have let go of all the scripts out there, and you are actively changing your biochemistry, and you are writing something that is completely new, not regurgitated, not a reaction, not like, oh, you now know better. No, now it's like, okay, how do you want to see today? How do you want to redevelop today? Using the basic infrastructure of food, water, shelter, clothing, a computer, the words in all the vocabularies, all the words in the dictionaries, facts, terms, and concepts. Forget the storylines that are out there. And how are you going to develop an original script? But first for yourself, your biochemistry. Because if you don't change your biochemistry, there's no fucking way you're going to actually write out anything innovative or anything original. And you see, there's no originality out there. Because if you truly want to be original, you will offend somebody. When you say, well, God doesn't exist, Jesus is just a symbol of control, Satan is just how you want someone to react to Jesus. If you're not Jesus, then you're Satan. If you're not Satan, then you're Jesus. Those are all arguments. And so if you're not afraid to go up against every single institution out there in politics, religion, and science, and knowing that you have a diverse amount of people on your Facebook who all are so attached to their religion, their starseed persona, them thinking that they're an indigo child when you're just genetically modified. When you're not afraid to go up against the system of your Facebook friends, you have now crossed the threshold of finally becoming free. Because you're not jailed by what people think of you. You're not jailed by the fear of somebody reacting to you. And now you are open to develop something for yourself. And then find ways to get that information out there without ramming it down someone's throat. And that takes layers and layers of deprogramming. And I'm telling you, when you think you've deprogrammed, you haven't. Let me tell you, I thought I deprogrammed. Every single time I write my introduction, a new evolution, a new deprogramming, and then a new one. And then all of a sudden, with all these viruses and me dealing with the viruses, another layer of programming just released. And that's what's going to take. And so when I see people from 7 years ago liking one of my comments on their pages because I was still in the conspiracy world going like, oh yeah, we are the resistance, and everyone's going like this. In their black outfits and their memes, and they're like, yeah, we are the resistance. And I'm just like, I'm not that anymore. Fucking evolve. And so I deleted that comment because I have no relationship with that person because they've unfriended me a long time ago or I unfriended them. And I don't believe that stuff anymore. Okay? I'm not the resistance. And so I'm thankful that my husband today did not take any drugs for his, because he had, a lot of mucus. He was blowing it out. Oh, he's feeling better because of all the the food that I've made him and everything. But I think I can get him a little bit, just a little bit, little by little, get him to survive through some of the harder things as far as this pandemic. But that's what it takes, is that if you're going to be counterculture and everything, you also have to deal with pain. You also have to recognize your own biases. You also have to realize how snowed we all have been. And I'm telling you, it took me 10 years to deprogram. 10 fucking years. I started the conspiracy world actually at the end of 2011 when I started listening to The Obama Deception by Alex Jones. And then down I went the rabbit holes. And then it took me, then I went from the conspiracy world into the holistic world, went down those rabbit holes, finally released myself from that cesspool of people, and developed the Jilly Juice meta mentality. And even then I had to release myself from the rabbit holes yet again in the pro-anti therapeutic world. But I'm still not thrilled with the system of the holistic allopathic, but everyone has a choice, but you have to know what you're choosing. And that no, you don't have to die. But you see the obvious order of operation. Start the nursery, you end up in the morgue. And the timing between the nursery and the morgue is going to get shorter and shorter in a dynamic environment if you still believe in being cured out there, and you're out there hanging out with everybody and their mother, taking on viruses and taking on mutations and taking on things that it's going to exhaust the hell out of you until you're faced now with, should I stay home and stay safe and work from home and find a way to then cut down my hours so I can heal, or am I going to go out there and just go out with a bang and then play into the starseed ascension or energy healing world, whatever it is, whatever faction you gravitate towards most, you'll be faced with a choice. So that's the thing. But it took me 10 years. It took me 10 years. Okay? It's just not easy releasing the programming. And that's also doing the waterfalls. That's also finally, you don't cure yourself, not even with the J juice. And remember, words create worlds, so maybe it's time to start writing, people. Start writing your present. It's fun to react to everything out there, oh yeah. But at some point, can you now, instead of being an animal and reacting to everything, can you now finally develop a thought process? Develop something other than what somebody else has given you? And so it's right, yeah, we have a lot of clones out there. You see it, just look at your Facebook. And so, I'm not thrilled with the medical holistic system. Doesn't mean that they're bad or wrong. It's just another choice, but you have to know that you have to make a choice. You have to know that you have a choice. That you don't have to enter into the medical holistic system and end up dead. That you can face all of your demons and your viruses and everything else that you've been running away from. That no, you don't have to work out and try to look cute for somebody. And no, it's not about your religion or your culture or your ethnicity or the past or history or anything else out there that someone wants you to react to. That you can actively develop something that isn't about an image. That isn't about maintaining somebody else's expectation of what they think you should look like, act like, and be like. And that's a programming that's so difficult because you see everybody out there in the gyms, or they're wearing all their cute little clothes, paying, thousands and thousands of dollars, getting their Botox or makeup. They have the filters on Facebook or on their cameras all the time. And you see that. And at some point, somebody has to be authentic somewhere. In the world of fakery, somebody's got to be real. And so my dog hasn't had a seizure. And she's been exposed to some aggressive viruses. She hasn't had a seizure in over a month. She's released a lot of mucus, yes. She released a lot of mucus out of her back end. But, she's doing quite well. She's not just have the same personality she did. She's doing quite well. She's serious. She's feisty. She has her own mind. To a point of where, like, I have to for me to brush her teeth with my little Jasper thing, she fights me on that. So I just dip it in salt water or dip it into the little thing that gives us, and I just do that, or I use the coconut oil. She likes the coconut oil. But my dog's personality has changed because I released the pit bull programming of the backyard breeders out there. Yeah, it's nice to have a happy dog. Happy dog, happy dog, happy dog, right? But when it comes down to survival, it's not about being happy or sad or even glad or anxiety-ridden or depressed. It's just being logical. And if you're a dog, you're logical, you're reacting to your environment, and you're fighting to stay alive until who knows what kind of programming will then give her opposable thumb so she can open her own door and take herself outside. But that's the thing. And so me, I've changed so much. No, I'm not happy all the time. My life isn't not based upon being happy or being sad or glad or projecting an image or being depressed. Yes, it's chasing knowledge, but it's also developing my own vocabulary, my own, like the world that I want to see, what I want to live in. And if somebody else shares that same experience, great. All power to them. I'll give them every ounce of my knowledge that I can without taxing me. And we all can develop a beautiful world together that isn't like always happy, 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 peaceful, that you must be able to evolve and fluctuate with the environment. And it's not about the rabbit holes. Because look again, how many people have gone down the rabbit holes and they haven't changed their biochemistry? People bringing children into this world who won't have a clue because their parents haven't changed their biochemistry. And so then you're like, well, you kind of see how everything is predictable. And those with access to money that have better breeding will be the temporary movers and shakers. And they'll be honored with Nobel Peace Prizes and all that stuff. Remember, they're just temporary assets. Right, give them a car, give them a nice house, give them a nice place to live. They're happy. They'll keep producing until they can't anymore. And then, you see how that goes. No different with those that are in the support size system. Give them a little bit of money, a few vacations, and an attaboy here and there. And here's an award for being the best employee. And then when your body is totally broken down and you can't really produce, well, we're going to force you out. We're going to retire you early. That's kind of how it is. But the system knows that this is not necessarily the way to be. So that's why a lot of things are automated. So we're not exploiting humans who don't know any better. And so when you have less menial basic labor out there, then you give people a chance to evolve their brain. So they're not doing something repetitive that is breaking their body down. That they have a chance to innovate themselves or families. And that's why the system is automating. And that's why, some of the jobs like the checkout, I'll go to self-checkout. People are like, oh, you take a job away from somebody if you go to self-checkout. Well, then you know what? They need to go in and redirect their world. Maybe it's time to redirect. Maybe it's time to evolve. Not only yourself, but your kids. And so when these menial jobs are being taken over by robots, it'll force humans to finally think more of themselves than just a $5 an hour person and start innovating their brain. But you keep these menial jobs around with people who are like, oh, you can't go to this because you take away a job. Then you keep people locked into a specific archetype in a station in life, and they're not happy because no one forced them to fucking evolve and change and grow the hell up. And humans need to grow up. And so the more that we automate, the more it's going to force people to grow up. And if they don't want to grow up, fine. Then people get lost in their distractions, and the distractions will destroy them. Or they get so cannibalized by their jobs because they're getting attaboy, attagirl, here's another increase in your pay. And so they give all their life force to that job or to their friends and family, and then, oh look, now they have a diagnosable condition. And so at some point, you as a human must understand your boundaries and must understand that the world is changing, and you got to change with it. But it's eye-opening now when I look back on everything that I studied. And I'm glad I know almost everything out there on the internet, because I'm a research person. I will look at every single logic and reasoning thought process, and I want to understand it. I want to understand why people do what they do. And then that will help me figure out, how to construct my life so I'm not getting cannibalized by other people's trauma. And I develop my world without being cannibalized by somebody else. That's what it comes out. That's why I want to know about everything. So I know what to look out for. I know how to be safe. I know how to offer another perspective to give somebody a choice, because there's no lies out there. It's all just different truths. So yeah, my one business page called Exposing the Lies, well, yeah, that was from the brainwashing. And that's why I evolved to the Jilly Juice LLC page. Oh, but there are people who still follow the Exposing the Lies. There's no lies, just different truths. Your truth is no better or no worse than anyone else's truth. It's just something that you can either adopt based upon the outcome, whatever your intended outcome is, or you can just throw it away and be like, hey, I love my life the way it is. I don't mind dying at age 50. Fine. But at least now you have the choice. Now you have the choice. And you can't blame anyone. And even people way back when, in 1965, the Cultural Revolution, World War II, 1800s, hell, all the different rise and falls of civilizations, maybe those that were genocided all had a choice, and they kept resisting the evolution. They kept resisting the changes. And so what does a king or a queen or some architect of society do when someone resists evolution, resists change management? Well, look at the companies that axe people who can't get with the program. Truckers that can't deal with the new e-logs. They all want to be on paper logs, and so they get out of the industry because they can't handle the evolution of the electronic logs. And so, there's no right way to get people to get on board on the same page. And so governments, people in charge, must do what they need to do to evolve a population, or you'll have chaos. And so if you can't assimilate, then yeah, you will choose to take yourself out, write yourself out of the present / future. And you see many people out there biologically cannot assimilate to the new environment. And they are falling apart. They are falling apart. And when you commit yourself to the medical, holistic system, energy healing world, and you're always going to antibiotics and everything else, then you have told the system you're okay with writing yourself out of existence, now or later. And so you have no one to blame but yourself. The Freedom of Information Act with the United States is there. Everything is written on the back of the bottle and the inserts. They tell you exactly what will happen or possibly could happen, and if you still do it, fine. You have no one to blame but yourself. So don't even think about suing the hospital system. If you're a nurse and you're not liking the mandates, get the hell out of your job. So, if you truly want to know what reality is, stop taking the cures and feel these viruses. Then you'll know how aggressive this environment is, and then you'll realize nothing is bullshit by the CDC. This is an aggressive virus. It's not a lie, and it's not played, it's not over-exaggerated. It's not just the flu or a cold. This is an aggressive evolution that's going on. And either you assimilate and figure out how to modify your life, or you'll go down with the ship with everybody else who claims to resist the New World Order. There is no resisting any kind of order. Because biologically, people are not prepared to assimilate unless they change the way they do things and how they view pain and what industries will not contribute to your overall longevity. And so if you want shortcuts, then you can't say that you are a proponent for your own life if you can't dealing with living. So, yep. That's why my book hasn't been written yet, because I had a lot of evolution to go through. Something told me I'm not ready to release my book. I'm not in any timeline. I'm not accountable to anyone but myself. And I have to make sure what I'm writing is unbiased without stealing somebody else's story of, oh, the Georgia Guidestones, everyone's trying, they're trying to destroy everybody. No, they're giving you a chance. And you're actively choosing whether or not you want to prolong your life or shorten it, just by your belief systems and your choices and how do you deal with viral energy. So, good luck, everybody. Again, you're going to need it. Many of you won't survive this. You've already shown yourselves and your friends and family you're not ready to assimilate. You're too busy resisting everything. And your politics, religion, and scientific dogmas are going to be contributing to that. Good luck. Bye.